Hey everybody, and welcome to this month's webinar. Now, I wanted to really talk to you about how to turn trauma into triumph. And what we want to do is we want to build resilience through adversity. Because honestly, my friends, that's how you build resilience. You have to face a tough situation in order to build confidence, in order to build courage, in order to build that life of growth, that life that you really truly want to create. But we often get knocked down by the tough times that we come into. We often get knocked down by those traumatic experiences until we can recognize and see the benefits of looking at an adverse situation into something that's more moving, more life changing, more of a growth mindset. You're going to stay stuck in that fixed mindset, and you're going to believe that the only way to get through this is is really working on yourself and beginning to grow into that next phase. And my friends, that's what I hope for you every single day. And I'm excited that you're here watching this, and I'm excited that you're going to create that life, and you're going to take any of this adversity, any of this past traumatic experiences that is caused by these traumatic events. My friends, it's time, and every day is time. Take control of your life, to take back the power that you've given to the traumatic event, that you've given to that past circumstance, and move it into something more powerful, into something that's worth living for. And that's what I want to do for you today. We we always want to first understand trauma. So what is trauma? A deeply disturbing or distressing situation that affects the mind and body. That's it. And when you can see trauma from the outside and say, okay, you know, all it is a circle, right? All it is a deeply disturbing event that I've been through. And now I need to process it. But when we begin to do that, we have to understand, okay, so how am I being impacted? How am I being impacted by this trauma? So it affects the 3 points. One, the amygdala, which is it's your fight, flight, or freeze response. And it makes it hyperactive. So that when something happens in your life, regardless if it's something that's causing trauma or a memory of that trauma, your body is going to react the same way. So first you have to learn to understand that the thought of the trauma is different, my friends. It's different than actually truly going through what you've already been through. That's step one. When you have an understanding and say, okay, the trauma that I've been through, this is a memory of it. Often I find that your mind, which is your prefrontal cortex, which is there for your decision making, is very much impaired. And then your hippocampus, which is your memory gland, really what it does is it creates and fills in the pieces. So when you have a traumatic experience, your mind goes, okay, this was traumatic to me because it was an unnatural situation. And our body and mind goes, okay, where can I create this where it makes sense? So it fills in pieces to make that situation make sense. And then it creates that new memory because for us to actually think about it and go, actually, that doesn't make sense at all. That's impaired because we're so focused on that fight or flight. So common reactions to trauma are like hypervigilance, emotional numbness, difficulty sleeping, irritability. These are common reactions to trauma. They're not bad reactions because sometimes they're there to protect us and they're there to help us to move into that next phase of this journey that you're on. But you have to understand it because if you don't understand what you're going through, how can you work at creating the building blocks for the life that you want to live? You have to begin to understand what you're going through, why you're going through it, and how to really overcome and move into a better understanding of the trauma you are experiencing. Now, oftentimes I try to tell people that what you experience is your journey, right? You and I can go through exactly the same traumatic experience, and I might respond to it one way, and you might respond to it another way. But here's my question for you: is the way I respond to it right, or is the way that you respond to it right? Both are right. Because the way I do it is going to be my right. The way you do it is your right. And oftentimes we get into a battle with people that don't understand what we're going through because they're trying to incorporate their right way into your life. And that's where everything gets confused. So, my friends, understand that your journey is unique to you. And the way that you're responding is right at this time. And you are going to learn different things to help you to respond better. And that's what life is all about, growing one day at a time. But when you go through certain circumstances, you gain that power of resilience and you gain that power to become that new person. Resilience is the ability to adapt, overcome, recover, and grow in the face of adversity. That's what it is. It's not being in those challenges again. It's not allowing yourself to feel the way you feel. It's the ability to go, okay, I got knocked down again from this experience, but I built resilience from the past traumatic events or the past experiences that I've been through. And this is going to cause me to lead into this newer adversity state. So I'm going to be able to create that new response option when I'm dealt with another experience in the future. That's why resilience is so powerful, because you learn within yourself to move into that next phase. You learn within yourself to create the response options that you want to move into that new life. But I often tell you that it's within yourself. Now, for me, I have been a correctional officer, which is a prison guard for those who may not know, for over a decade. I've been in there. I've dealt with a lot of different experiences. Now, I remember when I first started, I didn't have that resilience. I often held in a lot of shame. When I first started, it was like, you're strong. The stigma around mental health was huge because you don't talk about feeling bad. You don't have any emotional response. You man up or you woman up and you move forward. That is how I started my career. And because of certain situations that I've been through, I know that building a life and being in charge of my mental health is more important than what how other people see me, because I'm empowering myself. And now I had a situation about 2 months ago where it was a violent assault that happened at my jail, and I responded to it, and then after the situation was over, I had my resilience. I go, okay, how do I adapt and overcome during this situation? And the way I do that is I run through the situation. I write down the situation, how it truly happened. Because like I said, your memory is going to create these negatives and they're going to try to fill in the holes because your your hippocampus isn't working, which is your memory gland, is not working properly because it's trying to fill in these blanks. So if I write down the situation while it's in my mind, fresh in my mind, I can say, okay, this is what truly happened. And when I get into these negative states of trying to fill in the blanks, I can go, okay, that's not the way it went down. And I read back through my notes and I read back through my journal and I go, okay, this is how it truly went down. And this builds that resilience. It builds that adversity going, I responded the way I wanted to respond in that moment. And I did nothing wrong. And if I did something wrong, you know what? I'm going to learn from that. Because there were a few mistakes that I made in that situation. But I don't beat myself up about it every day because I'm like, okay, I'm not perfect. I'm going to learn from these things and I'm going to create new successes in my future. And my friends, when you can get to a place where you understand that failure is the highway to success, failure is the highway to your growth journey. Failure is the stepping stones that build that life that you're going for. This is when your life is going to transform. We all fail. None of us in this world is perfect. We have to learn that adversity is built on failures. Adversity is built on tough circumstances. And that's when you begin to build that. So, what are some strategies that I can give you today to overcome adversity? So, adversity is based on reframing the challenges, seeing the challenges as something different than standing there and being so focused on the way life isn't going. We look at certain situations and go, why did this happen to me? Why is my life going this negatively? And you frame it into, okay, what can I learn from this? Right? I remember in the beginning when I was going through challenges, I go, why did this happen to me? One of the most crucial life-changing situations that I've ever had didn't even come within my career. It came in my personal life. And that was the loss of my 16-month-old son. That caused me to go into a severe spiral. And I went into a depressive state. I had challenges, right? I had suicidal intentions and I did not want to move forward in life. But I had to reframe that challenge and create my life into a new phase. And the way I did that is I reframed it. And I said, okay, instead of looking at this as a loss, what can I take from this? Where can I begin to learn and use this situation into something more positive, into something more life-changing? And I began to do that. Strengthening your support system. We can't do this journey alone. You know, with the stigma around mental health, there are trusted people out there. I talk to people all the time, probably on a weekly basis. I talk to people that are like wanting to help others and want situations on how to help their peers, how to help their coworkers, and to help those people that they're surrounded by. Because post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, burnout, resilience is part of the job. So we have to learn to lean on those around us to begin to create that life journey and that mindset into moving into that new phase. Mindfulness, self-care. Bring yourself into the present moment because our thoughts, our memories are based on past experiences. Our worries and fears are based on future experiences. So if you bring yourself into the present moment using mindfulness techniques like grounding techniques, which is bringing yourself in a present moment. A simple grounding technique is to take a pen and you close your eyes and you just feel it. Okay, what's it feel like? There's a rubber stamp on here. I feel that. I feel this end. I feel the push connection. I'm right here. There's nothing in the future. There's nothing in the past. I'm right in this moment. Another quick way to do it is to splash freezing cold water on your face. Fill up a bucket of ice water, splash it in your face. It'll bring you right into that because it's going to change your thoughts. It's going to highlight those neurons in your mindset that are going to bring you right back to that cold water. And anything in the past and anything in the future is gone. And at least for that moment, it brings you back and then you work towards it. Self-care. Simple things of self-care is to, go for a walk, journal, meditate, listen to a guided meditation. Things like this are going to assist you in creating that life that you want. My friends, you want to build a resilient mindset. We have two types of mindset. You have a growth mindset and you have a fixed mindset. Now, growth mindset is thinking, no matter what I'm going through, I know I can get better. A fixed mindset is saying, you know what, it doesn't matter what I've gone through. This is the way life is. We have to always learn from what we're experiencing. These, I believe, right? And I know some people, I've had discussions with people about this before, but I believe that every situation, every event in your life is placed there to build you, to build your resilience, and to make you stronger for that next event. One of the principles I live by is that life is a game and you're always trying to beat your current level. right? Now I know going through certain experiences, you're like, it's not a game. But that's the way I try to protect myself and to help grow myself into that next level, right? So you think of like a video game where you like, I don't know, those people that are on you that are wisdom like I am, and you used to play Mario, right? Mario, you'd have a boss at the end of each level, but progressively the bosses get harder. And that's most of the games we play now. So if you think of life as defeating that boss. Okay, I need to defeat this boss, right? I need to defeat, like with me going through the loss of my son, I need to defeat this. I need to overcome this challenge so that I can move on to something bigger and better, right? The universe, God, whatever it is that you believe, the higher power, there's something out there that wants you to have an extraordinary life. There's something that wants you to create that's created this life, and you need to connect with it. And when you can connect with it, you can begin to build your life forward and not looking backwards into the past. You have to learn from setbacks. This journey that you are on, it's not a straight path, right? There's going to be peaks and there's going to be valleys. When I was going through my journey, and I still to this day, I have valleys, right? But my valleys, thankfully, aren't as long anymore, right? I used to go through depressive states and that would last weeks. All I'd want to do is lay in bed. I'd book off work. I wouldn't want to deal with anything. And now if I get into a depressive state, if I get into a valley, it's usually at most a few hours. And then I do self-care things that I've set into place that help me to create and get back into that journey. But these setbacks are going to come, my friends. If you believe that you're going to get through this without setbacks, you're wrong. Sometimes you take 5 steps forward, and sometimes it feels like you just took 15 steps back. And you got to restart and you got to re go through that. But you'll get back there. You just have to work at it. You want to create a routine, you want to create something that you can use on a daily resilience routine. Now, I have action plans in my resources, and my friends, I hope that you and trust that you've gone to the resource page. There's so many PDFs in there that are going to help you build into that next phase. Listening to the podcast, I talk about different action plans, different things that you can do, that you can add to your resilience routine, that you could add to your life to help you get through each day, right? You want to identify your personal triggers. Like I said, we're all different. Things that trigger me might not trigger you, and things that trigger you that may not trigger me. We're all different. We're all on this different journey, but you need to figure out for yourself. And then commit to ongoing self improvement. Take it one day at a time, but achieve to be 1% better today than you were yesterday. And you will always increase, you'll always get better. Now, if you have a negative day, you have a setback, there's nothing wrong with that. Begin to work tomorrow at making yourself better than you were today. That is it, right? I want to thank you for your service, right? It takes strong people to do what we do. We have to run into that situation as people are running out. And for those who are supporters of those who run in as other people are running out, you too are unique. You were there. My wife is my rock, but I also need to know that she has her journey too. And I have to allow her to go through each phase of her journey. So as you're creating that life, as you're walking through that journey for yourself, my friends, understand that you can be that person that you want to be. You can move into the life that you want to do. But my friends, it takes time and it takes being on purpose.